Today's webinar will start in 3 minutes. Today's webinar will start in 2 minutes. Today's webinar will start in 1 minute. Good afternoon and welcome to the TFEA COVID-19 Taskforce Webinar. What did we learn from July 4th events? Our panelists today are Gail Hall, CFEE from Grapevine Convention and Visitors Bureau, Karina Jimenez, CFEE from the City of Mcallen Parks and Recreation Department, Joe Vera, CFEE, City of Mcallen, Mike Baxter, CFEE, City of Tomball, and our moderator is Jessica Bybee. I always have to stop and think, Jessica, sorry, from Sapphire, and myself. Remember that your microphones will all be muted, and if you have a question, there are 2 places that you can go. You can go to the Q&A box and type in your question, or you can go to the chat box and type in a chat, and we will be watching those boxes and trying to answer the chats as we go along. And the questions, when we get a break, we'll stop and answer the questions where we can. I believe that's what we need to get started. Our first speaker today is Gail Hall from Grapevine Convention and Visitors Bureau. Gail?
Thank you, Kay. Welcome, everybody. Happy 4th of July. I'm glad it's over with. It was great. It was fun. Our July 4th fireworks extravaganza was fabulous, but once again, between the heat, the humidity, and the COVID-19 dilemma that we are all still living with and working through, it presented many challenges. But what we learned, one of the biggest things we learned is we still had to do it. People wanted the fireworks show. Families, individuals, they wanted to see, hear, be a part of something good, but we had to find a new way of doing it. And in this new way, we learned some things along the way. So next slide. We learned that we had to grow our show and provide something new and different. In growing our show, we had more shows. We had 3 firing locations, which was something brand new for us this year. And we also did something that's not unique in the industry, but once again, for us, it was something brand new and different. This slide here is a picture of the main part of this shoot site that our fire chief was looking at for the first time. He had ever been down to the site and looked at it as it was being built. Jessica, you can go to the next slide. This was the really new and different, where this year we added a barge chute. We built a 40 by 40 barge, put down plywood, rails on it, and almost 50% of our show ended up with a lot of large shells being shot from a barge that was taken out in the lake. And then our third location was where our grand finale was set up for the show itself. So we increased the size of our show, once again, trying to give back to the community. As you can see, there's a lot of water there. There's a dam in the background. Our show this year was shot on Grapevine Lake at Oak Grove Park. So it was going after the masses on the 4th of July that were picnicking, those that were skiing and boating. After dark, all the boats just ended up on the lake to see a great show. And then we did the new and different with the next slide, Jessica. Stay home. In order to promote the safety side of a holiday in Grapevine or anywhere right now during COVID-19, we know that there's a lot of people that are still very worried about this. We're all living with face masks every day. So we had new signage that said everywhere that we had on all of our Facebook accounts with the city, our Instagram accounts, our different websites with the city, because all the different departments have different websites. We did the marketing and advertising before the event to say, stay home and stream the show. You can watch it from your couch. Next slide, please. Here you see some of those shots, the City of Grapevine site, stay home and stream the show, telling you all the different places that you can look it up and you can watch it, the red, white, and blue live streaming from the comfort of your own home. Our Visit Grapevine page, we did the same thing with pictures so that we could show, once again, you can stay safe, stay home, but not miss the 4th of July fireworks for Grapevine. Our Parks and Recreation Department, as well as our Police Department, our Fire Department, all have their own web pages. They did the same thing for us, and everything was tied back into our website, grapevinetexasusa.com/fireworks, so that we could really push the safety side of the event to where you could see a 24-minute show. Our show was 24 minutes set to patriotic music, and we fired more 8-inch shells this year than we've ever shot. We did 60 8-inch shells. We did over 300 6-inch shells, and then all the way down to 2-inch shells with cakes and everything. So 3 firing locations with a 24-minute show that you could truly visit the lake and do it. We also marketed and advertised from our website where you could go to different parks in our historic district or different streets and parking lots that, once again, you didn't have to get close to the lake, but you wanted to see it personally. You didn't want to see it from your TV or your telephone. So we actually provided maps on our website saying you can go to this parking garage and watch the show and still be approximately 3 miles away from it, but you'll be able to see it. So there were several different opportunities for viewing the show. Next slide, please. This was the fun part that was really new and different for me. Between the fact that we all had to wear face masks, every place that you went, we had signage that talked about face masks required because of the governor's orders. Every lake park had new signage talking about face masks, talking about physical distancing, because I call it physical distancing versus social distancing. So we added signage at every lake park. Some of our parks charge a fee. They went to a cashless, contactless type payment system where you had to use a credit card or a debit card to pay the fee for parking. Some of our lake parks are free. Some of our lake parks are controlled by our Parks and Rec department. And some of our lake parks are controlled by private marinas, private entities. So you have all these various people in control of all the different parks around Grapevine Lake. But you also have the uniqueness here that you can see in the background, the boats starting to come on the water, and then the live streaming component. I have to give a couple of people credit that helped us as we move forward with something totally new and different with our July 4th extravaganza this year. Besides being a bigger show, going with a brand new company for us, Pyrotechnico of Pennsylvania came in and did our show and received the award to do our show and came up with some really creative ideas with the barge, with the 3 firing locations, and then working with Jeff Krebs and Zach Chris from Epicenter, helping us to create the live stream. Now, the other person that I also like to thank, because this goes back to the industry that we're in, we're always sharing information and stealing from each other. Literally a week before our show, I had watched Becky's show from Ennis, Texas. Ennis put on a live stream for their show, once again trying, and theirs was not the 4th of July, but it was marketing about Ennis, Texas. And she put on this show that had some marketing opportunities for her community, as well as a good fireworks show that was done by Pyrotechnico. We had the ability to come in on our 4th of July and literally in that short period of time, planned a program that put us on Vimeo. We did our license with Vimeo in order to be able to not only live stream, but stream all at the same time with all these different social accounts. Because while I'm not a really technical person, I do understand with Facebook Live, that's the only thing you can do. But if you do this Vimeo program, you can stream many different channels off of that at the same time, of which we did. So back to, I learned something, as old as I am, I learned something different from 2 or 3 people that helped us grow our show, not only in a new and different way, because it went back to what did we learn from 4th of July? We learned that we have to do a lot of things differently. So in doing things differently with this live streaming, we also found a way to reach so many more people than we would have normally reached. Next slide, please. The man in this picture you'll hear about towards the end of my part of the presentation, and then after we sign off today, you can go on and watch the video. But this is Mayor William D. Tate. Mayor William D. Tate has been our mayor at Grapevine for 44 years. Born and raised in Grapevine, and his father was a mayor prior to him. This man with a vision, as well as a man that I've known all my life, has helped us grow Grapevine in more ways than you can imagine. When he was fresh out of college, he became the city attorney at Grapevine. And he was one of the first things in his job was to get on a plane and go to Austin and help write all of the papers that took place with the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, because that's when we were negotiating that deal. Our mayor has moved forward over the years to help us market Grapevine in every way imaginable. And at the beginning of our fireworks show, with the help of Epicenter, We did a 2-minute marketing video on historic grapevine, where it's come from and where it is today. With him always being the leader and the visionary and the cowboy that he is. Yes, he puts on a suit when he has to, but he also dresses up and plays the part of whatever he needs to do to promote grapevine and market grapevine. He's also helped us with every single festival and event that we do. Next slide, Jessica. Some statistics that came, and this was the amazing things that we have learned from our fireworks show. Our website, microsite, different page views, as you can see, increased dramatically from 2019 to 2020. And I can promise you that is from social media marketing, social media advertising, website advertising, and then once again trying to promote a safe event for people to come to and really enjoy being able to do something from their own automobile, their own living room, coming to the lake, or however they wanted to watch the show, because we gave them many, many places and opportunities. Our unique users was up 45%, page views an increase of 1,500%. Our website up over the year-over-year for unique users as well as new users, and page views up dramatically. Next page. Here's where Vimeo plays a huge part in it, and I have to admit, I didn't know a lot about Vimeo, but one of our viewers sent us this picture of our screen on her television screen in the middle of her living room where she watched the show. The impressions that we received by doing a Vimeo live stream were huge. The number of views, the number of impressions, the YouTube statistics, and then looking at the total views on Vimeo and YouTube, total views of 13,322 with impressions of 47,058. All of this was brand new because we had never live streamed our show. So it helped us grow our event and our audience tremendously. We're excited with the things that we learned, of the ways that we could do things to get the audience expanded and grow our audience in many ways. And this was just one of them. Next slide. Here's one of the shots that if you look down towards the bottom and you see where all the smoke's coming from, that far left is where the barge was out in the water. We weren't out quite as far as we would have liked to have been, but our fire chief had a little bit to do with that because he was worried about us getting too far out and them having enough boats to patrol about 4,000 boats that were on the lake that night to watch the show. To the right, you can see two different areas where there was cakes going off as well as the show. And once again, doing everything from 2 inches all the way to 8-inch shells for our show, because we had 8-inch shells on the ground as well as on the barge. And we had 5- and 6-inch shells in both places as well. Then they positioned the cakes all around. Next slide, Jessica. Just another shot of some of the colors, some of the different things. We had one set of shells that was 400 feet wide and spelled out USA in red, white, and blue. That was something new that was added to the mix this year. We actually added money into our budget literally 3 weeks before July 4th, knowing with the industry like it was, all of our events been canceled or modified. We'd done a tennis tournament, but our Main Street Festival it had been postponed for June, and then 3 weeks before it was supposed to happen, it was canceled because of COVID. So all of our community-driven events had been postponed or canceled due to the pandemic. Our mayor and council felt like it was important to add more time, more depth, and more ways of pleasing the audience and helping our community. When you look at the real marketing side of Grapevine, it has 20 hotel properties, but our two largest hotel properties, which is Gaylord Texan Hotel and Convention Center and Great Wolf Lodge, they had both been completely shut down for over 2 months during the pandemic. They are luckily both open now. All of our properties are back open. But when you look at how the market is and how the airport is right now, our hotels are sitting there at somewhere in the vicinity of 17 to 25% occupancy, when we're used to Great Wolf Lodge having 100% occupancy all the time, and the Gaylord Texan being up there having, it's got 1,800 rooms. And when you look at the tax dollars, the hotel tax dollars, as well as the sales tax dollars that come into a community that has a population of 50,000 people, with our Convention and Visitors Bureau relying on those hotel tax dollars, our budget has been cut tremendously for the rest of this year, and it's going to go into next year all the way through till almost probably the last quarter. So anything that we could do to add to the community feeling of the holidays, to give them something to really see, hear, do, and be happy with, we felt like was good whenever you look at increasing budget. Jessica, next slide. I went backwards. Okay, now you go. Went ahead to end my part of the program with, you can actually watch the whole show here. Not right now, do it later because you've got some great speakers behind me. But it has the marketing video that our mayor did, because we started our 4th of July fireworks extravaganza with a 2-minute marketing video to market the community of Grapevine to anyone and everyone. And that's a huge plus whenever you have a way to really push your overall marketing plan out there. And then from that, you can see the fireworks show itself in full length with the link here at the bottom. I appreciate being a part of this. I appreciate being able to be a part of TFEA and the things that we've done on the task force to try to help our membership stay informed, have a way to better communicate with each other, and move forward with events. We will come up with a new normal one of these days, folks. We'll have a vaccine and we'll have a new normal. But in the meantime, everybody's got to just continue to try to support each other, learn from each other, steal from each other, as I did, because truly that's one way that helps us all grow. But I appreciate Kay and Jessica taking the lead to help with this. And I also appreciate our Director of Marketing, Kimber Foster, who helped put this PowerPoint together to show you today, because we all know that I'm not the PowerPoint queen. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Jessica. Okay.
Thanks so much, Gail. Hey, you did receive one question from Laura Green. How much did you increase your social media budget by?
Really, we didn't increase our budget any. We just stole from other budgets to make it happen, because because it wasn't something that we had planned, and it wasn't something that was actually an approved budget. We just said, go do it. So I don't have the final dollars on that, but I can probably get you a number. Just send me an email to ghall@grapevine.texasusa.com, and I'll get you an answer.
Sounds good. All right. Well, now we're going to hand it over to the team over at City of Mcallen, and it sounds like, Joe, you're going to kick us off.
Hey, if that's what Karina said, that's what I'm doing.
All right.
Again, welcome to everybody. Gail, great job. Appreciate all that you do, your continued support for TFEA, IFEA, and just the festival and event industry. Y'all do great work up there. Thank you so much. Thanks to Kay and Jessica and everybody that's joined us. So here in Mcallen, some of the things that we'll talk about, some of the things that we did here. I'm pretty much going to kick it off and just say that, as we all know, things have changed so rapidly. I can tell you that here in Mcallen or Hidalgo County, our numbers of COVID cases have been increasing tremendously. We are now one of the hotspots in Texas. And so because of that, we've had a lot of judges' orders, governor's orders to go through, as I'm sure many of you across the state have had to do. So I know that we had governor's orders on June 26th, again on June 29th. And we in Mcallen had our Independence Day celebration planned, and we were including our Concert in the Sky celebration, which we were going to have on the 4th of July. But early on, we started working on several other projects and started looking at what we needed to do to make things work and what was going to be able to happen. And if it wasn't able to happen, I guess what it is that we needed to change and shift and pivot, as we say, to make this happen. But on as of June the 25th, everything was still on here in Mcallen. On June the 30th at 4:03 p.m., we actually put out a press release letting the people know that the Concert in the Sky, our 4th of July fireworks show, would not happen. Also on that day, about 6 p.m., a wedding that was scheduled to take place at our Mcallen Convention Center was also postponed. Now, what we did with our fireworks show is we actually rescheduled the fireworks show to a later date. And we here at the city have a way of tracking our social media. And the report that we received from Zen City, which is the company that monitors our social media, informed us that over the past week, up through July 7th, 1/3 of the people that were monitoring our social media were interested in COVID-19 cases and what was happening with that. But the other 2/3 of the people were all focused on city events. And they were focused on our floats on parade and the delayed fireworks show, which overall garnered very positive and supportive feedback. Residents' response was very positive, with only 6% of the reactions being negative. And so, and it was largely comprised of people who maybe were a little confused as to why we had delayed the fireworks show. That small percentage was basically saying you should have just canceled it and used the money for something else. But we would have lost the money for the deposit that we had. And so that's why the city made the decision that we should go ahead and reschedule that. We feel like we'll have an opportunity to celebrate together at some time in the near future, and that's what we're going to do. So overall, it went very well for us, and I'm going to let Karina go ahead and talk a little bit about some of the things that we did and the success that we had. Karina?
All right, thank you. You can go to the next slide, Jessica, thank you. So in the months after the real implementation of all of the operational changes here in Mcallen for our different city departments, the entire organization, around mid-March, we really started that conversation about how the 92nd annual Independence Day celebration would take place. And, you know, I'll talk about it more in a little while, but it was really important that we start that conversation then, just because it really prepared us for getting to the point where we could transition easily and evolve with the different changes in terms of the situation regarding COVID-19. Initial conversations were definitely centered around moving forward with our traditional plans until we heard otherwise. As the talks continued to evolve and it became more clear that our celebration would not go on as usual, we kind of went back to basics. We reached out internally within our Parks and Recreation department. We put out a call out for ideas within our department and what should we do and what can we do to continue to engage with our residents, provide that opportunity for celebration in a safe way. And I think the really interesting thing about our department and this celebration in particular is that many of our members of the department have been part in some form or fashion of the production of this event for over 15 years. So they definitely have an emotional connection to the event, one, but also have a good idea of what it is and what the feeling is from residents when they hear about the Independence Day celebration. So it was interesting because from that initial kind of call out for ideas, we got so many great ideas, and we started with about 30 different things on a list that seemed feasible at the time. Some were, you know, a little bit out of the box, but we left them on there because who knows what's going to happen, right? And as the situation continued to evolve, and obviously our event budget became more defined, and of course, we really got a clear idea about what the pulse of the community point of view was, and we continued to evaluate that as well. We ended up with the 7 different items that you see on the screen, and these all made up our Independence Day celebration presented by HEB. When the offerings were somewhat clear, and by that I mean we knew the 7 things we were going to move forward with, but we were still drilling down in terms of how we were going to execute them all, because as you can maybe tell, the majority of them are primarily virtual, which is very different from our usual, you know, come out to the park and celebrate kind of offerings. Once we were at that point, our first conversation was with HEB. HEB had been a presenting sponsor of our event for the last 2 years, 2018 and 2019. And I think it's important to note that that conversation and the conversation with all of our partners was made a lot easier because we do have those strong relationships that we fostered throughout the year. And even more so after March, like I said, when things did take a shift, we continued to reach out to them. We sent them emails. Those of us that have those relationships where we can text or call, we continue to do that just to check in with them. And also on top of that, we continue to offer them different city advertising assets, such as, you know, advertising their new curbside or whatever it is that they were doing on our different city screens that are seen throughout all of the employees' computer screens as screensavers and different things like that. So we've been framing those items as, you know, kind of different assets that they have access to as valuable partners to the city. And I think all of that really made these conversations regarding Independence Day a lot more, you know, more comfortable and not so, you know, difficult to have. So after a few conversations with HEB and really getting a feel for their standpoint and their comfort level, you know, how they felt about moving forward with any kind of special event, whether it was virtual or one that offered the opportunity for gathering, we submitted a proposal and we were able to secure them as a presenting sponsor once again for our Independence Day celebration. And I think what illustrates them as our partners so much is that they came on with this unknown, you know, kind of new offering that we were telling them about. And they came on with the same level of investment as they had in the previous 2 years. So we were really excited about that, that response from them, obviously. Other sponsors who had already invested in the event as part of their City of Mcallen special event bundle were really, really wonderful about being patient with us as we defined what 2020 would look like. And once we presented these offerings to them, they were on board 100%. They trusted us to execute what we were saying and do it in a safe way. So no need to carry over any investment to 2021 from those that had already, you know, submitted their payment and been, whose sponsorship had been secured for 2020 prior to, you know, this new change. Reliant was a sponsor that has been a partner of ours for different events, our Mcallen Holiday Parade, our Fiesta de Palmas event, and they immediately believed in our offerings, and we think they'll continue to be a sponsor of this event. Next slide, please. Jessica, can you hear me? Oh. The Concert in the Sky extravaganza, as we stated earlier, was an event that we rescheduled for a later date. We were confident that we could secure the municipal park from a public gathering. However, you know, there were other areas where residents may want to gather. So we decided to reschedule that event for a later date. Something that was interesting when this event was, you know, a few weeks ago, we were deciding what we were going to do, if we were going to move forward with the Concert in the Sky offering. The conversation was part of one of our city commission meetings. And one thing that really stuck out to me was, and I'm not sure exactly which member of the meeting said it, but our plan really illustrated how we could celebrate safely. And it was interesting because everybody kind of grasped onto that, and it was repeated a few times after that during the meeting. So we took that and we placed it on a lot of our advertising for the event. And it really, you know, stuck. People started using it. They mentioned it in their shared comments and posts. The hashtag Celebrate Safely caught on. So I think that it really, those two little words kind of added that extra level of security for some of the, you know, residents and those who were hearing about our event. Next slide. All of the offerings that we included this year really reflected our traditional offerings in some form or fashion. Obviously not 100%, but in some way. We created the event Floats on Parade this year, and it really helped us reach that goal of reflecting our annual Main Street Parade, which usually sees thousands of people line Main Street to view the community parade. And since our float studio team had already started preparing 4th of July floats, we decided to have the floats positioned around the city, and residents and visitors could drive around and see as a scavenger hunt type of activity, take photos, and ultimately win a prize. So we decided that this could be another over-fulfillment type offering for our high-level partners, which is those who invest in multiple events throughout the year. We made a list. We started with about 17, and we contacted those sponsors to see if they were interested in having a float with their branding, but definitely a patriotic float at one of their locations. And we got a really great response. We had 15 floats that we did place around the city. After we confirmed with our partners, we scheduled site visits with each to ensure that, you know, the delivery and the setup was seamless. We wanted, even though they weren't officially, you know, celebration sponsors, we wanted to give them that same level of experience that they would have as an event sponsor. So we scheduled meetings with them. We made sure that that went seamlessly, and we also included them on our advertising of the different locations. Just that little inclusion of their logo versus their, their company name typed out made a big difference and was impactful for them. So the positive response that we got for Floats on Parade was really, really great. It was a one-day event, Thursday, July 2nd from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. There were 7 floats that actually stayed through the weekend at secure locations, and those ended up working out really well because throughout the weekend, even though obviously Thursday was our big day where we had everyone posting their pictures and sharing them with us to be entered into the contest, those pictures kept coming throughout the weekend because of those additional that were placed around town. So really quick, I want to show you all a short little recap that kind of illustrates what Floats on Parade was this year. All right. So I hope everybody saw Kay on there and her puppy out visiting our different floats. She swears she had a great time that day. Next up, we also implemented some virtual contests. In the last few months, we actually saw great success in a virtual contest centered around our one of our community center events, which was our Las Palmas Community Center car show. It worked out so well. We got a great response, awesome engagement on social media, and it really gave us those high impression and reach numbers. So we definitely wanted to implement that kind of offering for Independence Day. What we did was we implemented a pre-event and a post-event contest. So the pre-event was decorate your home. We asked that everyone take a photo of their patriotic home decor, whether it be interior or exterior, and email that to our email address by a certain date. And then we advertised a voting day, so everyone could come to our Facebook page that day, and the photos that received the most likes would win the prizes. And in the next slide, we'll show you what those are. The post-event contest was our What's Grilling presented by HEB. HEB did have exclusivity for this contest, so we were happy to provide that exclusivity for this particular contest. For the What's Grilling contest, we asked that everyone send us over a photo of what they would be grilling on July 4th while using HEB products, and email those to our same email address again. And we had voting actually take place this Tuesday, July 7th, after the event. And throughout this week, we have been delivering those prizes. So on here, on this slide, we have kind of that initial launch post that we used. And then after that, we had, the follow-up post with more details on how to submit and everything, like all the details on how to go about winning these great prizes. So the Decorate Your Home video we'll show you right now. These are really quick little social media videos that we put out. And as you see, that one included our celebration sponsors, and the next video is the What's Grilling. And then in the next slide, slide, you'll see the prizes that we had for each of the contests. We went to our HEB that had a Texas backyard section of the store, and we purchased all of the items there at HEB. We took photos in store, so the HEB partners initially were wondering what we were doing and then started helping us out with the staging. So those are the prizes, and so far we've done 2 deliveries. The rest of the deliveries happen today and tomorrow. So you'll see there are first and second place winners for the Decorate Your Home. We're really excited to welcome our mobile recreation squad out there to deliver them their items. These 2 virtual contests for the voting day had over 4,000 votes selecting their favorite submission and over 300 shares. So the virtual contest alone garnered us for over 43,000 in reach, which we're really pleased with that number, as it represents the number of unique persons who saw the piece of content. Next slide. Another one of the elements that we offered that was virtual was our Mcallen Parks and Recreation Unplugged. This is something that we started in March when we closed our community centers and weren't having participants come through our doors. So it's a series 3 times a week that we post different videos, arts and crafts, different exercise videos, things like that, different craft activities on Tuesday, Thursday. So on the week of 4th of July, we made our Unplugged 4th of July edition, and what that included was an unbagging of our at-home craft kits. It was very well received. Lots of people were tuning in and following along, and then the really great thing was they were commenting their kids completing the projects that they received at the at-home craft kit pickup. The at-home craft kits, we distributed 3,000 different kits, similar to what you'll see there on the picture on the left. They were either in an HEB drawstring bag or a white drawstring bag with our sponsor logos included on there. And we kind of went back to basics in terms of the arts and crafts. Our community centers each put together a craft that was included with all of the items needed to assemble it. There was a red, white, and blue wreath. There was a Stars and Stripes headband and a patriotic bracelet. So we created this little book that included the instructions and details for that, a couple of recipes, and then other activities like crossword puzzle, coloring pages, things like that. And initially we thought, well, we'll distribute the at-home craft kits at the community centers, but as they kind of continue to evolve, and we definitely wanted to engage people with Floats on Parade and the at-home craft kits, we combined the 2. So the 15 different Floats on Parade locations had the at-home craft kits there where you could pick up. So it was a really great 2-for-1. It really helped drive people to the Floats on Parade, but also to our social media pages to do the at-home craft kit activities. So that was something that was really one of our successful offerings for the full event. Next slide. Oh, excuse me. The at-home craft kits also included different sponsor items. So it became a really good item because our sponsors definitely wanted to be part of that. They had different toys or games in there, all kinds of different stuff. Whataburger gave us a cookie. So there were all different included in those 3,000 bags. Next slide. And our last 2 offerings that we included this year for our Independence Day celebration was our Independence 4K virtual run. Last year, we partnered with Team RWB, which is a national veterans group, and they partner with us in terms of promoting the event, and they also get to keep the proceeds of the race. So this year we went virtual with that, and it went well. We had good response in terms of registrants and participants, and we learned a lot from that event that we're then going to transition to another virtual race that we're implementing under our Mcallen Marathon umbrella. And lastly, we had a full day of programming on our Mcallen Cable Network channel, the best of the Independence Day Parade. So We had 3 different parades broadcast throughout the day, our patriotic program, which usually takes place the morning of 4th of July, and different city-wide messaging and programming going on that day. Next slide. So I think some of our takeaways and valuable information for everyone to keep in mind would definitely be, number one, that sponsor relationships are invaluable. We really learned that by continuing to build our relationships with our sponsors, continuing to reach out to them, even when there isn't a special event, and of course, always fulfilling what we promise. When the time came for us to execute something like Floats on Parade or ask them to trust us with this brand new, completely unproven programming and offering like this year's celebration, they supported us 100% without hesitation, and we were really thankful for that. Second is virtual offerings, as I'm sure we have all realized by now, are a must in this new normal. Since March, when our operations changed, as I mentioned before, this value of these virtual offerings becomes more and more apparent every day. Offerings like our Unplugged, the Las Palmas Community Center virtual car show, our virtual Sunset Live concerts by our convention center staff, and like you've seen before this slide, all of the majority of our 4th of July offerings. So just as kind of a side note, our different virtual engagement has really been strong since March. Our various City of Mcallen department platforms have generated over 8 million impressions and over 1 million video views in COVID response related messaging on social media. And our Independence Day celebration alone, and only on our Parks and Recreation pages, we're still compiling information from all of the other city platforms. We generated over 420,000 impressions and over 8,000 video views. So we're really excited about what that whole number will look like once we get everybody's number. Number 3, we learned it's never too early to start the conversation. We started discussing this new possibility in March, and it really helped create that baseline and helped us to be able to shift and change the plan easily as things continue to change and evolve. And of course, number 4, plans will shift. Let's just go with it, right? Were the changes in the plan frustrating, confusing, and stressful? Of course they were. We're planners and we want to make things happen, right? So sometimes those changes can cause frustration, but usually, and of course, especially during this time, let's just remind ourselves that the show will go on, maybe not based on our first scenario or even our 15th, but we have to be ready to shift and swerve in whatever the direction the organization, or most importantly, our attendees take us. So I hope you've enjoyed our ideas, and thank you so much for the invitation, Kay, to be part of this panel.
Thanks so much, Joe and Karina. One question that came through from Kate Horan is, did HEB provide those 3,000 bags?
They provided a portion of the bags. We actually had some that they had provided for a different event that we didn't utilize due to that event being canceled due to weather. So they provided, let me think, it's 25%, 25% of the bags, and then we fulfilled the other portion.
Right. Awesome, thank you so much. A ton of great ideas there. We really appreciate having those. Next up, we're going to move on to Mike Baxter from the City of Tomball.
Good afternoon, everybody. For the sake of time, I'm going to blow through this pretty quickly so we could still have time for questions and answers. Basically, the way we were in past years, the 4th of July celebration that the City of Tomball put on was much different than this year. The last time that July 4th fell on a Saturday, we had more than 40,000 guests. That was 20,000 in our street party on Business 249, and 20,000 more estimated to be in vehicles around the area to watch the fireworks show. So as a result of knowing how many people could possibly show up on a Saturday night, we opted to do away with the street festival this year and go straight fireworks. So that meant that we eliminated the live music, the merchandise and food vendors, our giant kids zone that the fire department puts on, and other activities. And so it was it was much different than it has been over the past 10 years when we started this festival. Okay, Jessica. So the way we are, what happened this year, we went in to restructure as best we could, not knowing what was actually going to happen. We do multiple events here with the city of Tomball throughout the year. And so we had set a goal for ourselves of making the decision to cancel an event 30 days out. This year for the 4th of July, though, we opted to go with a 60-day time frame because there were so many parts that had to be taken into consideration. So we, like I said, decided to do away with the street festival and then to take the fireworks display and turn it into a drive-in theater style event that could be viewed from multiple locations. The place where we fire our shots are right along the Tomball Toll Road. It's Highway 249. So that's a major intersection with FM 2920. As a result, you've got parking lots on both sides of the intersection. It's like Lowe's and Target and Academy and H-E-B and Kroger. So there is a lot of open space for people to park and watch the fireworks show. And then we did lose our presenting sponsor at this event because their key goal was not so much the advertising and marketing that they could get on air and online. They wanted the face-to-face, one-on-one experience with people at the street festival. So that was one of the big downfalls that we had this year. Okay, Jessica. So the way we adapted was we tagged our fireworks show as social distancing with a bang. And that little key phrase got us so much publicity that people thought it was really cute, the media. So as a result, I mean, we were interviewed for the #1 talk radio show. We got some television mentions. We had several interviews with online and with print media. So it worked out really well for us. The city of Tomball owns its own low power FM station, 95.3 FM. That's KTTF, which stands for Tomball Texan for Fun, which is our tourism slogan that was adopted 9 years ago and registered with the state of Texas. And so we put together a 60-minute pre-show of classic rock and roll and country music that was peppered with messages from the mayor. So every 10 minutes, a new message would come up from the mayor saying things like, "Welcome to Tomball. We appreciate you being here. Please practice social distancing. If you feel comfortable, wear a mask." And just things like that made it, really apparent that we were concerned with their safety. And then the remaining 30 minutes of this presentation was straight up patriotic tunes. And it played during our 25-minute fireworks show. The reason for the extra 5 minutes was because in the past, there could have been delays at the beginning of the fireworks show and things like that. This was not synchronized with the fireworks show by any means. The music was just played over our radio station so that everybody could tune their vehicle radio on to KTTF. And then with everyone doing that, you could hear music over the entire area playing from everyone's individual vehicle. It worked out real well. So we also streamed the fireworks with the accompanying music from 95.3 on Facebook Live. And as of yesterday, we had 1,700 live views during the event, and it's up to 12,000 replay views as of this time. And then, let's see, we had additional, on social media, it's been shared to other platforms, other sites, and supporting radio and print advertising was purchased on the big FM station, the country station here on the north side, so that knowing that the city of Houston had actually canceled the portion of their 4th of July celebration that would allow people to come downtown and watch fireworks and watch the live concerts. Those events were actually broadcast on Channel 13, the ABC affiliate here, and they were streamed live. So knowing there are people out there that wanted to take part in a live show, we knew that we would be getting a lot of folks driving up from Houston proper, and they did. So in addition to the advertising we did here, the fact that others around the county were canceling their shows, the numbers really swelled. I don't have a definite number for you. I was not on site. I was doing the Facebook Live from an area off to the side, and my other staffers, one was at the launch site, the other was at the radio station studio, and they were coordinating the music with the fireworks. So we did a number of 30-second videos through Vimeo that we began 5 weeks out, knowing that this event was going to be different, and promoted the event, the 4th of July in Tomball, through these different 30-second spots that ran on our social media. We did not spend any additional dollars to boost any of our posts, because every time we posted a video or a mention like that Celebrate July 4th in Tomball image you see there on the screen, we would end up with 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people would click on that, say they're coming to the event, leave a comment. And so we didn't see any reason to actually spend any more dollars on social media at all. So we went strictly with just a single print ad and a week-long radio buy on the station here on the north side, and it worked. So next slide. Is that the last one, I believe? Yep. So that's all I've got, pretty much. If anyone has any questions, we'd love to answer those, guys.
Thanks so much, Mike. That's great. Yeah, so like he mentioned, if you have any questions, we have two different options for typing in your questions for the group. There is a questions and answers panel where you can type in a question, as well as a chat window where you can type questions. And while we wait for those to come in, Kay, do you have any final announcements?
I do. I want to remind everybody that we have gone to bi-weekly COVID-19 task force webinars. So we'll skip a week because we have started our Texas Event Management Institute seminar, our classes, and the next one for that will be on July the 23rd. And it is the new world of ticketing. You can go online to our website under the Texas Event Management Institute page and sign up for those. You can eventually get to your certificate, your certified festival and event, had it written down. Anyway, it's a certificate at the end of 23 classes. So, and it leads into the CFEE with IFEA. We also want to remind everybody of our Facebook, TFEA Facebook group page. Just go to TFEA group, and if you're not already signed up on it, you can just register to sign up. You must be a member of TFEA to be in it, but it's got great information as well along the way. And I think that's all I have, but there is a question up there.
Yes, I saw that, and it looks like it would be open to anybody who has the information. So from Jennifer Mock, how much of your budgets were from municipal funds and how much was from sponsors? And even if we're just talking percentages, that would be great information.
We were really excited that we were about 95% able to fund the event through sponsorship dollars.
Great. Gail, do you happen to know your percentages between municipal funds versus sponsorship?
Yes, I replied in writing, but all of ours is municipal funded. Ours wasn't done by sponsorship at all. Our July 4th is truly a community event that the municipality pays for it.
Got it. And Mike, how about you, the City of Tomball?
Yeah, ours was 100% from the general fund. And up until about 3 years ago, it was a part of the fire department's budget because traditionally over the past 60 years, they had put on the fireworks show. So now it's from the general fund and it was 100% came from the fund.
Great, thanks so much. I don't see any other questions coming through, so that will probably wrap us up. I did want to clarify the dates that Kay mentioned for the different upcoming webinars. So the July 23rd date that she mentioned will be the next COVID Task Force webinar series, the free webinars. And then if you're interested in that Timmy class, it's on July 28th, Tuesday, July 28th, the following week.
Hey, Jessica?
Yes.
I'd just like to say that I want to thank our staff here at Mcallen for what they did. I will say that working with our sponsorships, our sponsorships actually pretty much remained at the level that they were. And in Mcallen, we actually were able to generate $39,000 in sponsors for our 4th of July events. And so that was a huge benefit to us. And of course, now we have a fireworks show that'll be coming up that's been paid for by sponsors. But it's all a matter of working with your sponsors and just developing that partnership and relationship with them. And so it's something that's worked very well for us.
Great point.
Jessica?
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody too that the deadline for the Caleb Marketing Awards is coming up on the 23rd of July. So get those entries in.
Yeah, great note there, Mike. Everybody, we are doing a virtual marketing awards this year. And so get your submissions in, and we can't wait to see what everybody's been doing, especially as we've adapted to this new world of COVID. I saw a hand raised, but it went back down. And so I guess if you have any questions about that, you can always reach out to Kay at tfea.org. Thanks again, everyone. We really appreciate you all contributing to the presentation. We can't do these without your talents and your willingness to put together some presentations, and it was really great information. We've gotten a lot of good feedback already that it was a lot of wonderful ideas, and the folks seem to be really appreciative that you shared them with them. So thank you all, and we'll see you next time.